We're ready, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, councillors and members of the public. First item is to welcome Councillor Ribia Nisa to Hanforth Town Council. Hope we can live up to your expectations. Good. First item, as those in the public gallery know, this: if there's a fire, if there's an alarm, it's a real fire, so we get out. Item 1, 22021, apologies for absence, but we have a full complement. First time for a long time. 22022, to note declarations of interest and requests for dispensation to discuss and vote on a matter in which a member or co-opted member has a disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest.
Chair, I have a non-pecuniary interest because I'm a governor at Hanforth Grange School.
Thank you.
I have a pecuniary interest because my grandson is a pupil there.
And I have the same grandson, by a strange coincidence, who loves it there.
And likewise for item 220211. Actually.
Okay, thank you. I would mention that we would still be quorate for any vote to be taken. Right. Okay. Okay, good. 22023, open forum. Comment and questions concerning items on this agenda may be put to the council by the public during this period. I see we've got some old stagers here who know the score. Is there any comments from the general public?
Very short one. I wonder if we could just get a brief update on what happened yesterday's audit and governance committee about the Hanforth complaints, which is an long-standing issue for the last year.
Yes, I'd like, if we can, just to wait until the end. There is an agenda item of notices and correspondence, which I'll go into it then, if that's okay. Roger? Deal with that at the end. Yes, we can do that as well at the same time. Any more questions? No, thank you. 22024, to approve and sign the minutes of the Hanforth Town Council meeting of the 14th of December. Do any councillors have any comments on those minutes?
No,
no.
Chair.
None. Can I have a second? A proposer, Councillor Julie Smith, and a second, Councillor Sampson. And can I have a vote? Those in favour? You've not as well because you weren't there at the first. Yeah. So 6. One abstention. Yes. Thank you. 22025, to receive a report from the PCSO. As you can tell, Gareth isn't here at the moment. However, the councillor with responsibility for the police liaison, Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Chair. After a significant increase in burglaries at the end of last year, we have had one burglary in the last month. Even though this is a vast improvement on recent months, we're continuing with the ongoing operation, which has seen more officers in affected locations during key times. We've seen an increase in criminal damage, antisocial behaviour and graffiti on Staff Lane Estate and on all of our parks. Some of these incidents have been reported to the police officially, but a large number are still going unreported. Can I please encourage people to report any issues to us? The more reports I get, the more I can ask for extra support in the area. We're working with youth services and Wilmslow High School to try and identify the young people believed to be responsible for some, if not all, of these incidents. I have increased my patrolling in all of these areas, and this will continue until the issues are resolved. Enquiries are currently ongoing regarding the recent spate of manhole cover thefts. I will hopefully have a positive update for you by the next meeting. I would like the opportunity to thank the Town Council and More Secure, again, for the CCTV in the village centre. To my knowledge, we have had need to use this on 5 separate occasions in the last month alone. Not only has it assisted with detecting crime, but by allowing us to rule out dead ends, it saves us hours and hours of potentially wasted time.
Excellent, thank you. Item 22026, to approve and sign the order of payments for January 2022. Does anybody have any comments?
Yeah, yes, Chair. We've bought a washing machine for the youth centre.
Yes.
Which budget has it come out of?
The youth provision. Yes. It's something to have an eye on the future and for the youth clubs.
Can I just explain the reason behind it? It's so I can do my washing on a Friday night when I'm volunteering at youth club. No, seriously, the senior youth group are one of the things that they like to do is teach the elder children life skills, such as they have cooking lessons and general housekeeping, things that they need to go forward in their adult lives. We are also looking at projects with some of the other volunteers, a uniform swap, so that people can bring school uniforms in, and people who are finding it difficult to buy new uniforms or provide uniforms for children can come along and swap or just take what they need or make a donation. We've not quite got the mechanics of it yet, but just to make sure that everybody, all the stuff that we're going to be swapping or giving away is in a good order, then we've got the washing machine there so that we can do that. Okay.
Will that also be administered by the youth club, or is it separate?
Yes. Yes, it will be. It will involve the volunteers who volunteer at youth club, and anybody else who's interested.
Any more queries about the order of payment for January? No? Can I have a proposal to accept? Councillor Sullivan, seconded. Thank you. Can I have a vote in favour, please? Okay, thank you. Unanimous. 22027, to receive a report regarding Cheshire East, Ward Councillor Julie Smith.
Thank you, Chair. On the 23rd of December, I received an email informing me that the access dispute concerning the new Jones development at the end of Hall Road has now been resolved, and access to the Sunfield estate will be gained via Coppice Way, and the planning application concerning proposed access from Hall Road is now expected to be withdrawn. I've now received the key statistics report regarding the community governance review, which summarises the number of responses received by recommendation and area. Of the total, 4,608 responses were received concerning boundary changes throughout Cheshire East. 1,128 of them were from Handforth, which just goes to prove what a strong community we have here. The next stage in the process will be member workshops to consider the consultation responses, which will take place in February and March, and informal views can be expressed to the subcommittee. The Corporate Policy Committee is then likely to hold a special meeting in April to make recommendations to Council, and a special meeting of Council is expected to take place in or around late April to make the final decisions following the review. So that's where we're up to on that one. There'll shortly be a public consultation on the Cheshire East website for residents to comment on the revised details of the proposed cycle path from Handforth to Wilmslow. If everybody can please take the time to comment on it. As Gareth referenced in his report, we're experiencing an increase in antisocial behaviour, specifically in the parks, with equipment being damaged and graffitied. It's up to everyone in our community to report this so we can nip it in the bud and protect our open spaces for the community to enjoy. We are constantly trying to secure funding to make improvements and additions to our facilities, and we don't need to be spending valuable resources on repairs. Any instances of antisocial behaviour can be reported directly to PCSO Gareth Harding or by calling 101. The other current issue is the disappearance of grid covers in various locations around the village. These have been reported, and I have spoken to the Grange School and St Benedict's School to make parents aware of the potential hazard. Again, if anyone sees missing drain covers, they can be reported on the Cheshire East website quite easily, and anyone seen removing any can be reported to PCSO Harding or by calling 101 at the time. We can only resolve these issues if people get involved in reporting instances as they are happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 22028, to review the HTC committee membership following the co-option and election of new members in respect of finance, planning, environment and personnel committees. I'd just like to mention, we took a decision, I'll get to you in a minute, Roger. We took a decision, I think, to make sure that everybody was on each committee. We'd like to continue that, wouldn't we? Because that gives flexibility that we shouldn't ever be in quorate if we've got 7 possible options for a committee meeting. Does anybody have any objection to that? No? Good.
Apart from I won't be on planning.
Yes, that's, yeah. But this is for going forward, and it's continuing that. Yes?
So does that mean Ribia is going to be on every committee?
Yes.
Does she understand that? Yeah. Okay. I just thought. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Do we need a vote on that, Ashley? Yeah. All in favour of that, as we've just mentioned? Unanimous. Thank you. Roger.
Workshops in February, March and April, may I suggest that this council, together with interested parties, prepare for those things as well, so that a good unified approach is made in defending the case for council independent from the interaction. What council?
We're not allowed to come in. Yeah. I agree with that.
Nevertheless, arrangements have been made,
Yes, we've got 2 ward councillors to do. Oh, hang on a minute. Yes. Sorry. Have we just, Peter, go on. Not if he's already indicated a position, he would be considered to be predetermined. No, he was asking if Councillor Burker would be able to put his own personal view to that, but if he's already taken a position, that's predetermination, isn't it? So he wouldn't be able to. Yes. So.
You get invited to every meeting in Mr. Moore.
Okay, thank you. 22029, to receive a recommendation from the HTC Finance Committee in respect of a grant application received from St Benedict's. This is that which we've already discussed just half an hour ago regarding the bug hotels. I'd just like confirmation that Full Council is happy for this to go ahead. Yep, second. All those in favour? We can all vote on that, can we, Ashley? Yes. I'll add myself into it then, yes? Okay, thank you. 220210, to receive a recommendation from the Finance Committee in respect to the grant application from Hamforth Hall Tennis Club. Same reason, £1,000. Have a proposal in favour? Councillor Sullivan. Second. Councillor Moore. Thank you. Can I have a vote in favour? Okay. I have one abstention. Yes, if you need to, yes.
Is a great opportunity for all the youth and everything, and I agree with it. And the reason why I've decided to abstain is because I feel like we need to know more information back of what Councillor Millward had said about who owns the land and all that. So I feel like that's why I'm abstaining from it. I just need more information.
What I could say is, if you wish, Ashley can give you a copy of the pack that came out in November. Is that the first time we discussed it? Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's quite a comprehensive document which gives all the information. So if you, yeah, Ashley will send a copy of that over to you. Yes. Okay. There we go. Next item, 220211, to receive a recommendation from the HTC Finance Committee in respect of the grant application by Hamforth Grange Primary School, £2,167. Same vote, please. In favour? Sorry, proposal and yes, and seconded. Those in favour? I can on this. I can vote on the ratification. Yes. Yeah. We can vote in favour. Yes. Unanimous. 220212. Following the success of the previous HTC Community Skip Days, to agree to fund a further 3 Community Skip Days up to a maximum of £800. Any comments, Councillor Smith?
Yes, I'd like you all to support it because the last 3 that we did were really successful, and our community loved the idea that the money was being spent on something for them. And those were the comments that we got. So, yes.
Can I ask that the amount goes into next year's budget? You're not proposing to have it before March, are you?
Yeah, I'd like to do them in February.
We've got facilities.
For people to get rid of any waste from Christmas, because we're seeing an increase at the moment of fly tipping, so I think the sooner the better.
Can I ask where you're proposing to put the skips?
Yep, the same places as last time. I have spoken with Onward as well, and I'm going to confirm tomorrow whether they're prepared to contribute as well on Spath Lane Estate and Knoll Park. So I will be speaking to them again tomorrow.
So we're saying Knoll Park, Meriton Road,
yes,
Spath Lane.
Yes.
What about this side of the Hamforth?
Well, if we can increase the budget, then yes, we can do it.
Well, if we're
here as
spending
well.
money on the whole village, then
Where
we
are you
need
thinking
to include
of?
everybody, don't we? Well, I was thinking at Hall Road, not Hall Road, Hallwood Road.
Where?
somewhere along there for the residents of those estates.
Right.
Down at the bottom of Hallwood Road, as you know, there's an awful lot of apartments and places like
Yeah.
that.
It's
That might be
just the practical thing of where to place
well,
the skip.
there is space down there. If you go down to the bottom of Hallwood, and I think it's turn right, isn't it? Is there
Yes, that
space
takes you
there?
back onto Coldy.
There's space along there. I think I go down there all the time. I'm sure there's space along there,
Right,
and
well,
I really think it would be good to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
just
look
something that you
into
need to consider, Sue. Think of what that bend looks like all the time, and can you see a skip lorry getting in there?
Mm.
It's got to be able to get in, drop, and get out.
Not
There are
down
cars.
Hallwood Road, yes,
Yeah.
and turning right, yes. I wouldn't recommend going up the road that way. I'm
Yeah.
trying to visualise it because there's too many
I
cars.
know what you mean. Just
But-
near the first couple of
Yeah,
masonettes.
somewhere along
There is a space on the
I
corner.
think there would be space, and there are some garages
Yeah.
there, which I'm sure the owners would be more than happy if you just put if it was there for a short length of time. It's only there for a morning.
Well, it's only there
isn't it?
for 3 hours, so yeah.
So I would like to see that.
Yeah,
if that's-
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll include
Okay.
that. As I say, I'm speaking to Onward tomorrow, so if we can get them on board as well for Spath Lane and Knoll Park, then we might have more to play with. So, okay.
It's all going to be like in the weekdays?
Yeah.
I would just like to say I second what Councillor Moy said, and I would also like it to be well advertised because I don't remember seeing anything anywhere. So Wimslow.co.uk and maybe the notice board.
We're always advertised on Facebook, on the community pages, and they are very well subscribed. And the website, yes. Yeah.
In fact, if you look in our garage, we could just about fill a whole skip, couldn't we, Pete?
What, with guitars?
Can I just say, it's more for people who don't have the wherewithal to get to the tip.
Did we have a vote on that? No. Okay. Can I have a proposal for that, please? A second. Thank you. Vote in favour, please. Unanimous. Thank you. 220213, to agree the attached awards guidance and application form for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations.
Yes, this one needs to go into next year's budget, not this year's budget.
I know. I was going to tell you that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. This will allow residents groups and community groups the opportunity to apply for up to a maximum of £500 per group towards the cost of holding the Queen's Platinum Jubilee event in June 2022.
Can I say something about this, please? The section where it asks for them to prove where they're getting their contribution from, I don't think that should exist. Is that?
Yeah, there was a guideline I put in there. You know what? I thought you would copy your previous guidelines.
Right, because I don't think that's applicable.
It could be a bit onerous for certain groups.
Well, yeah, we're asking community groups to ask us for money to put events on. They shouldn't have to provide their own money as well.
Could I speak? This is something I didn't even know this was going on the agenda, but recently Pickmere Road has decided they want to celebrate the Jubilee and all the houses are going to get involved. There's going to be well over 50 people. I've already asked Ashley how we get the road closed, but what we don't seem to have at the moment is a day or a date. I know it's over a long weekend, but
There's 4 days.
Yes, I know, but when does the 4 days start? Is it
On the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
and the Monday?
No.
No. Two extra days are added on the week before. So the Thursday,
So
Friday.
so what's the date? I
Is
couldn't
it the
find it.
But those groups who are taking part can have it on the Thursday or the Friday or the Saturday.
No, well, I think we're looking to have it on the Sunday. Well, I would do anyway.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of groups, quite a lot of residents that are asking if they can arrange
yeah,
things
fine.
on their own little streets. So yeah.
Well, we've only done half of Pickmere, but the rest of Pickmere want to join us now, and I think it's getting a bit out of hand.
Do we have a sum of money that we're limiting ourselves to on this then? In total as a
Well,
budget?
50 people, you can get up to 5.
But how much as a council are we willing to spread across these groups? Okay, great. In that case, do we want to be slightly more vague about the sum that groups might get allocated if we get lots of applications?
Something that we've been talking about. What we want to do is make sure that everyone's willing to get involved. But if there's only 15 or 20 people in that one particular group, then that might not be suitable for the donation at £500. Because we're looking at £10 per person. So there will be an element of discretion looked at to see how many of those will go in those groups.
Okay.
And also, I'm sure Cheshire East are giving us some money, aren't they? I've heard that there is going to be. Yeah. Right.
They did that.
Okay. They did it for the other Jubilee. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'd probably,
No, won't be.
if it's £5,000 in total, if we get more than 10 groups, we will end up either going over budget or giving people less than £500. So what I would recommend is that we're slightly vaguer about the amount that people might expect to get, so that we don't set people up for disappointment.
But we have to approve all the projects anyway.
Yeah.
That's the idea of the form.
And
So
what
they've got to be well costed and
yeah. And what we've done with Pickmere Road, we haven't assumed that we would be getting a grant. We've just asked people if they want to participate, and they're quite prepared to either bring some food or whatever. But maybe, do we have to pay for the closing of the road, Ash?
This is a really good question. Last time round, Cheshire
No.
let me crack off.
Right, okay.
What I remember.
you do
Okay.
have to apply to close the road.
I know we have
but
to
I don't
apply
think
to
there'll be a
close the road.
charge.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Can I just say that if the closing date is the 31st of April, that's 30, there isn't 30 days, April's 30 days, 30th of April, that should read, then surely we should look at how many groups have applied, as Councillor Millward said, and then adjust accordingly, because we can't, if you had 20 groups apply, you've not got enough money, have you? So either you go over budget or you make that £5,000 fit. I think it depends how many people apply. Yeah.
If we have something that mentions that on the actual documentation that everybody sees, that 500 is subject to discretion, and yes, and maybe yes.
Will there also be restrictions on what the money can be used for? I'm talking about, so like when we did the Queen's events last time, we restricted, like we said, we wouldn't be providing money for alcohol, things like that. Are we going to have that again?
No. Are you, if when we apply for it, you will want receipts and a proper detailed income and expenditure? Okay, thank you. The thing is, Pickmere Road doesn't have an association as such. It's just a group that want to get together to celebrate it. So can we have one person as the check signature, for the check? You don't live on Fit Me Alone anymore, so lucky you.
Just going back to this thing about alcohol, I seem to remember in the dim and distant past there was some huge argument about a grant and alcohol. Was that because the alcohol it had been said that the grant wouldn't pay for alcohol?
Mm.
It was?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I don't think we should pay for alcohol, to be honest. I think we should have a restriction on that. Yeah.
To be fair, I really don't think that the town council should be responsible for purchasing alcohol, because they can't. It would, okay, all right.
So,
Can we alter the form to say the right date? We don't have 31 days in April. It'll go on till next year.
okay, thank you. Can I have a proposal to do that? Thank you. And yes, both here. And vote in favour. Thank you.
Just before you move on, are Handful Town Council going to be doing anything?
Yes, I did have one.
Okay.
Wilmsdale are having a party.
Okay. 220214 to receive notices and correspondence. I'll just give a quick comment on Avonshaw. Not yours, Roger, was it? Yes. Sue will correct me if I need to be. In fact, I think Sue's better placed. Do you want to, or can I just mention it?
No, it's fine, I'll do it. In answer to your query about Avonshaw, we did have an email back in December sometime, I can't just tell you the exact date. A solicitor's letter has been sent to Avonshaw at no cost to the council. We have a very public-spirited gentleman in the village who shall remain nameless, who has done the letter for us. It was an excellent letter. It has been sent to Avonshaw, and we haven't heard anything as yet. So the jury is still out on that one. So we're hoping that the solicitor's letter will have the appropriate result. However, the person in question is quite ready to have a battle and says we have a good case.
Thank you, Sue. I received via email a letter from David Brown, the monitoring officer, today. And it says, I have been having some correspondence with the head of legal at Cheshire East and copying in the monitoring officer, and he has responded today. He says, Dear Councillor Smith, I write to clarify the position regarding the recent Handforth Parish Council member complaints following a number of recent inquiries. As we know, it was Handforth Parish Council then when the complaints were made. A series of dates were scheduled in the latter part of 2021 for a hearing subcommittee to consider outstanding complaints regarding 3 Handforth Parish councillors. Make sure everyone knows, none of which are sitting around this table now. The subcommittee's role was to consider investigation reports in relation to each subject member, and after hearing representations from the investigator and subject member, to make a finding as to whether a branch of the member's code of conduct had occurred. The scheduled hearing dates were in each instance unavoidably abandoned. During the course of the process, each of the subject members resigned from their elected office, meaning that it was no longer possible for a subcommittee to make a finding or impose sanctions following any finding of breach of the Code of Conduct. In the circumstances outlined above, a finding will not now be made on the behaviour that was subject to investigation. However, a report will be presented to the Audit and Governance Committee, now in March rather than January, that describes the process taken, the timeframes, the costs incurred, and the investigator's findings in broad terms. This is intended to update the committee on a long-standing matter that has absorbed a disproportionate level of publicly funding resource. It will also enable the committee to consider any changes that need to be made to our adopted process, our being Cheshire East. This report and committee discussion could not take place while the hearing subcommittee was tasked to hear the complaints, as it would have tainted the objectivity of the process. The investigation reports themselves will be identified as supporting documents, and the committee will decide whether a redacted version of the reports will be released to the public. Yours sincerely, David C. Brown, Monitoring Officer. Good question. I'm looking for, and Sue is, for those who are not aware, we three here were the ones who had been accused of breach of the code and were found not to have breached the code. I can't say the same thing for other councillors who were investigated. However, there are some additions to the investigator's report, the barrister's report, that have been added. Let me go back one. It's possible for the investigator to come back to ask those who are mentioned if they have anything to add to the contents of the report. At least one of those three that are not in this room came up with about 60 pages of essentially lies. Apparently, I've been investigated by the television in the YouTube video, and I obviously suffer from mental illness, and I'm a psychotic idiot, and various other little bon mots. So I would be happy for the things that have been said about, particularly Sue and myself, to be redacted, because we both have businesses in the village and we don't want people being given wrong information. So I'd be happy for that, and I have been asking for that to be redacted from anything that gets published. I've not checked yet whether that comment about the redaction covers what I'm asking for, but I will be checking on that. Yes?
I would just like to say one thing, and that is that I think that the whole debacle shows that the process at Cheshire East does not work, that councillors can more or less do whatever they like, and then if they get taken a complaint against them, then they can just resign and walk away. I think the whole system needs a radical rethink.
I'd just like to make a comment about the cost of employing a barrister. Nobody will tell us what this cost is. I had an interview with the barrister for nearly 3 hours, as I know that Councillor Smith and Councillor Moore did. Now, when he came to interview the other councillors, they put obstacles in his way to such an extent that the report, we were interviewed in January and February, and they weren't interviewed till May. And this is the result of an incompetent Cheshire East Council. David Brown has never replied to one of my emails. This is the first letter I've ever seen that he's sent to John from David Brown. But can I just say that he should be very careful of who he writes to, because he wrote to another person who'd put in a complaint, and the letter is exactly the same, except it says dear Mr. So-and-so, and he's just changed it to dear Councillor Smith. I find this monitoring office totally incompetent. If they'd have been in business, they'd have all been sacked by now. And I am so disheartened that I want to contact Esther McVeigh to see what she could do, because I feel after what we've suffered over the last 15 months, it's an absolute disgrace. So someone can go out and murder, but because they sack themselves from the office they're in, they're not going to be tried and tested. And, you know, one of the councillors knew the report was coming out and resigned on that day. Well, you can't tell me he didn't know about that. Cheshire East are an absolute disgrace, and I'm sorry, I would have willingly gone to the meeting and stood up and said that. But they've moved it to the 10th of March, and now we can't attend. They're having it in camera. When do we get our day in court? We've been told we can't say this to the press, we can't talk to elsewhere. We've been complicit in everything. We've kept our mouths shut. We've weathered the storm, and I can tell you, it's been like a tornado at times with some of the vexatious emails that we received.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions on that? Yes, Peter. Correct. Yes. Yes, because that includes, for those who don't know, Ashley. Yes. Any more comments?
It'll get out one way or the other.
I know that a member of the public has put in an FOI regarding the costs. Oh, I'll give you that in. I didn't know you'd be aware of that.
I think the fact that one councillor resigned on the day the report actually came out speaks volumes.
By what Cynthia and Sue said about with the report coming out, that's it coming to the principals. The 3 people here who were involved and the 3 other people that were involved. So it's not that it's gone out elsewhere, it's come to us, but we are unable to disseminate anything that's come out from that because it is under gagged, unfortunately.
505 pages.
Yeah, mine's 560, I think. Because she's read them all.
I read them all.
Yes. Okay.
But meanwhile, we get on quietly and calmly with the business of Hanforth Town Council.
I agree.
Exactly.
I totally agree.
And I said that in an email to them today.
What do you want to say?
Yes, Roger. Yeah, I'm sure we can pass on your comments. Thank you. Which underlines what we were saying before about whether we employ this guy as our village handyman. Exactly why. Okay, thank you. Meeting closed. Oh, the next meeting, Ashley? 8th of Feb. Yes, okay. Close a meeting at 20:15. Thank you. And can we go straight into the planning? There's only one item on it, isn't there? Or should we just wait?